Hello and welcome to Fluid Mechanics lecture videos. So, in the previous sessions, we are looking at model number 2 with the buoyancy, and in the model number 2, we have fluid kinematics. So, I told you that fluid kinematics deals with motion of the flow of the fluid, where we are not considering the forces which causes the flow of the fluid. So fluid kinematics is basically understanding or analyzing the flow of the fluid in a pipe or in a open pipes or open channels, or in closed or enclosures, or maybe in open area or in containers. So fluid kinematics is a very important concept in fluid mechanics because it deals with understanding the nature of flow or the flow properties of the fluid, which is used in designing many fluid based mechanical systems. So in this session number 4, we'll continue with we'll start with fluid kinematics. So buoyancy, we have seen that in the previous sessions, and we have seen some examples also, practical examples, worked examples we have done in buoyancy in the previous sessions. So in this session number 4 of model 2, we look at fluid kinematics. So in fluid kinematics, you have to study all these concepts. So one is the methods or the approaches in understanding fluid motion or the flow of the fluid. And in the flow of the fluid, we have to understand some properties like velocity, then acceleration of the fluid particle or the fluid element, which is used for analyzing the flow properties of the fluid. And we will understand what are the different types of fluid flow, and also the description. We'll see how the flow pattern will be seen in different fluids when the fluid is flowing, and we'll understand some principles of the fluid flow, and we will derive some equations called as continuity equation in the rectangular coordinate system. So continuity equation is a very important equation in fluid kinematics. We will derive that, and also we look at different kinds of motion of the fluid elements, and in that we will understand some mathematical functions which describe the motion of the fluid elements or fluid particles. So important thing is potential function and the stream function, and also we look at orthogonality of these streamlines and equipotential lines, and then we will solve some problems based on these functions, stream function and velocity potential function. And in the last concept, we will understand what is meant by flow net. So this is the syllabus as per your model number 2, particularly in fluid kinematics. So just remember, fluid kinematics is understanding or analyzing the flow of the fluid. So whenever the fluid is flowing or in motion, we'll analyze it and we'll understand the behavior of the fluid. And in fluid kinematics, we are not considering the forces which cause the motion of the fluid, which causes the fluid to flow. So that is fluid kinematics. So basically with kinematics, so we'll first look at methods of describing the fluid flow. So how to describe the flow of the fluid? We have some approaches. So we have two approaches: Lagrangian approach and the Eulerian approach. So I told you that fluid kinematics refers to understanding the features of the fluid in motion, or studying the behavior of the fluid in motion, and we are not considering the forces which causes the fluid to flow. And here fluid kinematics it assumes, or it refers to fluid particles or fluid elements how they are moving, what is the nature of movement of these fluid particles. So I told you that we're not taking into account the forces causing the motion. That is the kinematics. And whenever the fluid is flowing or whenever the metal is moving, so the characteristics which are used to understand or which are used to describe the motion of the fluid or matter is the velocity, then we have acceleration, then the rate of flow, that is flow rate, and the nature of flow and the flow pattern, and the flow visualization, that is a flow pattern. So all these things come under fluid kinematics. So basically we are understanding or we are calculating the velocity, acceleration, flow rate, the rate of flow, and the nature of flow, and the flow patterns, how the fluid elements or how the fluid flows in an open space or in a closed space. So for understanding or knowing the nature of fluid flow, we have two approaches. I told you, Lagrangian and Eulerian. So first one is Lagrangian approach. So Lagrangian approach is basically we are considering a particle or element of the fluid, and that fluid is followed throughout the course when the fluid is flowing, and with respect to time. So you can see the diagram here. We have one cross section and the second cross section. So the fluid is moving from left to right now, and whenever the fluid is flowing, we assume that fluid as a small element or as a particle. So assume that some particle is there in the fluid, and that represents the fluid element, and this element or the fluid particle is followed throughout its motion, okay, with respect to time. So we have initial time and this is the final time. So it is followed for some time, and this approach, and when it is followed, the properties are studied. So this kind of approach is called as Lagrangian approach, and this is the time. So it is based on time. So example is that, suppose say you want to know the vehicle movement, the attributes of the vehicle, say velocity or acceleration or the performance of the vehicle. And if you want to know the performance of the vehicle, you can follow the particular vehicle in the traffic flow along its path over a period of time. So this is the one example, one analogy being made with respect to vehicle. So here the vehicle is the fluid particle. So if you want to know the vehicle attributes or the behavior of the vehicle, you are following it from one time to the other time. Over a period of time, you are following it. So it's just like following a vehicle in a traffic on the road. Particular vehicle you are following and trying to understand its behavior. So similar way, even when the fluid is flowing, one element is taken and that element is studied towards its motion with respect to time. So that is the approach or method of understanding the nature of flow. But this approach is having some demerits, because it's very difficult to trace a fluid particle or follow the fluid particle. So practically it is difficult. So this approach is found to be difficult or kind of impossible to study the nature of flow. So alternative to do this, we have one more approach, Eulerian approach. So Euler and Lagrange, they are the physicists who studied or mathematicians who studied about these particular fluid motions. So you know about Euler's equation in your mathematics and Lagrangian equation in mathematics. So they are the mathematicians or physicists who did some experiments to understand the nature of flow. So anyway, so in alternative approach is the Eulerian approach. So here what is happening here is we are taking fixed sections or two cross sections, and we are observing the fluid between these two sections whenever the fluid is flowing. So here we take the cross section here, we can take here, or we can take here. So whenever the fluid is moving from this cross section to this cross section, we study the properties of the fluid at different fixed cross sections or fixed stations. So this is possible, and this is a bit practical. So here the motion of the fluid is specified by the velocity components with respect to space and time. So the fluid is moving with some distance and it is taking some time, so we can study the velocity, acceleration, all those things. So it's possible. So this approach is possible. So we consider this approach, it is Eulerian approach, compared to the previous approach to understand fluid kinematics of the fluid or the nature of flow of the fluid. So example for this approach is, you can observe the variation of the flow properties. So what are the flow properties? So it's a velocity, depth, acceleration, flow rate. So all these are the flow properties. So whenever the fluid is flowing in a channel or in a pipe, we can understand how the velocity, acceleration are changing at different cross sections, and you can analyze the flow of fluid. You can understand you can study the behavior of the flow of the fluid. So this is the Eulerian approach. You can see here these are the elements of the fluid, and at different cross sections the fluid is studied with respect to its properties, flow properties. So I told you some of the important flow properties of the fluid. So whenever the body or any object is moving, so we know the approach, we know that concept is velocity. So velocity of any body or any fluid, we know that it takes place in any direction, and you can define velocity as the velocity is nothing but speed or velocity. So velocity or speed is nothing but distance, okay, distance by time mathematically. So you can say that it is the rate of change of displacement, that is x. Displacement is the distance moved by the object or the fluid in this case. So how that distance moved is changing, that rate with respect to time. So rate means time with respect to time. So that rate of change of displacement of the fluid in a particular direction is called as the velocity of the fluid element or fluid particle, or say fluid. So velocity is particularly in any direction. You can take in one direction or two direction, or in three directions, x, y, z directions, and we can say that velocity is dx by dt mathematically. So differential of x, that is the change of the distance with respect to time. So mathematically u is the velocity. So we are taking u, small u, for velocity. Dx is the change in distance, dt is the change in time. So mathematically we know that speed or velocity is distance by time. So since it is the rate of change of distance, mathematically we write it in partial differential equations. U is equal to dx by dt. So dx is the distance travelled by the fluid in time dt. So velocity is it's a vector, okay, because it is having both the distance, that is the space, and time. So it's a vector, not scalar. So velocity is happening in one particular direction, and also it is happening with respect to time. So distance and time, space and time. Space is the distance, and we have the time here. With respect to time, the space or distance is changing. So velocity is a velocity of any fluid element or fluid particle is a function of space and time. Space is distance dx. So it's a vector. So we are taking x in the x direction, we are taking, and that velocity I am taking it as u, and if the velocity is in y direction, I am taking it as small v. If the velocity is in z direction, I am taking it as w. So u, v and w, small letters, they are used to describe the velocity of the fluid element in x, y and z directions respectively. So mathematically, so you can write the functions, that is the dependency of the velocity. So velocity u in x direction is a function of these directions x, y, z and also time. So this is the dependent variables. So u is the velocity, it depends upon these variables x, y, z, that is the directions and the time. Similarly, v is also a function of x, y, z and time. W is also a function of x, y, z and time. So all these u, v, w, they are the velocities of the fluid element in three different directions, and they are the function of directions and the time. So it's a vector here v. So capital V is the total velocity. So mathematically it's the square root of the sum of the squares of that velocity. So you can see velocity u is dx by dt, v will be dy by dt, because v is the velocity in direction y, w represents the velocity in direction z, and all with respect to time. Just remember this term here, u is equal to dx by dt, v is dy by dt, and w is the velocity in z direction dz by dt. That's about the velocity of the fluid. Similarly, we have the acceleration. So acceleration of the fluid element or any fluid in any particular direction, we can say that it is the rate of change of velocity or the speed of the fluid along that particular direction. So just like velocity, acceleration is also taking place in particular direction. So we can say that acceleration in x direction, a is for acceleration, x is the direction, so it is the velocity in x direction. So u is the velocity in x direction by time. Again, it is the rate of change of velocity, so time is there, so it is in x direction. Similarly, in y direction, we have acceleration in y is equal to dy by dt. So acceleration in y direction is dy by dt. Similarly, acceleration in z direction is dz by dt. So here u, again you know that just now we saw u is a function of these times. So by using the chain rule in mathematics, so we can we can apply this u as a function of x, y, z. So acceleration in x direction will be equal to del u by del x and dx by dt. Similarly, you go on applying the chain rule, so del u by del y, dy by dt, and del u by del z and dz by dt, plus this we have the local acceleration du by dt. So this is the what is called as convective acceleration. So first three terms, they are the convective acceleration, and this last term is the local acceleration. Together both are called as total acceleration. So acceleration in x direction, since u, velocity, is a function of x, y, z and t, you just expand this differential equation du by dt with respect to these functions x, y, z, t. So you get du by dx, del u by del x, del u by del y, del u by del z. So it's a repetition, it's a series of equation. So this continues. So we have del u by del x, del u by del y, del u by del z. So that velocity in x direction is with respect to x, y and z, and we have this dx by dt, which is nothing but the velocity. So dy by dt is the velocity, dz by dt is velocity, and again this velocity, this del u by dt is the acceleration, local acceleration. So similarly, for acceleration in y direction, you can take the same equations. So it is y, so we have the velocity in y direction, so it is v, so del v by del x, so velocity with respect to distance, and dx by dt. So like this it continues. So it's a sequence. That sequence is followed in chain rule. Similarly, acceleration in z direction. So it is with respect to the velocity w. So del w by del x dx by dt. So all this is your mathematics. So using that mathematics, you can write the accelerations in 3 different directions: ax, ay, and az. So this dx by dt is u. Okay. So dy by dt is v, dz by dt is w. You know that. So this is the total acceleration of the fluid element in different directions, and since velocity is a function of x, y, z and time, so you have to expand this equation and you have to take the convective acceleration and the local acceleration. That will give the total acceleration. And next, coming to, so since now we have studied about the properties of the fluid flow, velocity and acceleration. So based on that, we can classify the fluid flow into different types. So first thing is fluid flow, types of the fluid flow. So types of the fluid flow, just like any other constants, equilibriums. So we take the what is called a steady flow and the unsteady flow. So whenever the fluid is flowing, whenever the object is flowing, just like we studied about in buoyancy, we studied about stability. We studied about stability of the objects which are in floating or in the submerged in the liquid. Similarly, whenever the fluid is flowing, that stability or the flow is studied or understood or analyzed based on type of the fluid flow. So in that, first case is steady and unsteady flow. So whether the fluid is stable or unsteady or unstable when it is flowing, so we call it as steady and unsteady flow. So we have steady flow and unsteady flow. So we say that the fluid or the flow of the fluid is steady if the properties, so we take all the properties like velocity, angular velocity, then we have the acceleration. So these properties should not change with respect to time at any cross section, at any section of the fluid flow. So that is the steady flow. Steady means the properties of the fluid will not change. Its velocity and acceleration will not change at any cross sections or any sections of the fluid flow when it is flowing in a channel or in a pipe. So at different sections, the properties of the fluid will not change with respect to time. So you can see here, this is important. So properties of the fluid will not change with respect to time at any sections, and that is called as the steady flow. So that is nothing but, so this statement you can write mathematically del P. So del P is any property. Del P with respect to time should be 0. So that means the properties will not change with respect to time. It will be always 0. So just like steady, we have unsteady. So whenever the properties of the fluid flow change with respect to time at any section or point in a fluid flow, then we call it as the unsteady flow. So del of the property with respect to time is not equal to 0. So here we have one example. So all of you know about dam. So whenever the flow, if we observe the flow of a dam, water is coming out of the dam during rainy season, so there will be a lot of inflow with which the flow properties like depth, velocity will change at the dam section over a period of time, representing it as unsteady flow. So during rain, what happens at the dam, a lot of water will be stored, and when you open the gate, so what happens, the fluid rushes, the flow of the fluid water rushes, and at different times, at different sections, the velocity, acceleration, the thickness of the flow will be changing. So that is unsteady flow. So similarly, we have one more kind of flow. So with respect to distance, so this this case was with respect to time. So with respect to distance or space, length of the flow, we have uniform flow and non-uniform flow. So uniform means the flow, we can say it as uniform. The properties of the fluid or the fluid flow do not change with respect to length of the flow. So do not change with direction, or maybe we over length of the flow, considering the flow along the flow at any instant. At any point for a particular length of the flow from x to y, the properties of the fluid should not change. So this is with respect to the length of the flow, whereas in the previous case it was with respect to the time, change of time. So change of time, it is steady and unsteady. With respect to length of flow or distance of flow, it is the uniform and non-uniformity. So uniform is nothing but the properties of the fluid flow should not change with respect to the length of the flow, over a length of flow from x to y. It should not change at any point, at any instant. So it is with respect to x, distance, length. So that del p by del x. So now it is x. In this case, it was with respect to time. Steady and unsteady was with respect to time, whereas uniform and non-uniform, it is with respect to the property should not change with respect to the length of the flow, over a length of the flow. It should be 0. Similarly, a non-uniform means it will not be equal to 0. The properties will change over a length of flow dx. So we get del p by del x as not equal to 0. So again the same example is taken, dam section. So over a length of flow, what happens is the depth or velocity will be changing, so we call it as non-uniform flow. So here you can see different types of fluid flow. So if you consider this as a suppose say this is the base, and you can assume this as a dam. This is a dam. So water is stored here at some height. So this is the height of the water. Okay. So this is the thickness or depth of the water, that is y1 in terms of vertical distance, and v1 is the velocity. v1 is the velocity of the fluid flow, and y1 is the thickness or depth of the fluid or water. So from 1 to 2, you can say that the fluid is said to be steady at section 1 and 2, as the flow does not change with respect to time. So here the velocity with respect to time is not changing, it is same. So y1 is equal to y2 and v1 is equal to v2. So with respect to time, the properties are not changing. So we can say that from 1 to 2, the fluid is steady flow. And also the flow from 1 to 2, section 1 to 2, is called as is uniform, because the properties do not change with respect to this distance from here to here. The properties don't change. So y1 is equal to y2, v1 is equal to v2. Then coming to this section 2 and 3. So here you can say that the flow between section 2 and 3, here it is non-uniform, as the properties vary over the length between the sections. So here you can see y2 is not equal to y3 and v2 is not equal to v3, because the depth is changing. y2 is not equal to y3. The height of the water is changing because we have a dam and it has to overflow the dam. So the depth of the water or thickness of the water will increase over the dam here at this cross section near the dam. So it is non-uniform flow, and you can see the water is flowing, and this is a dam, and at the dam cross section it has to increase, thickness will increase, and the water will fall over the dam. So again the thickness will reduce, and you can see again thickness will be reduced at this cross section 4, and as it moves again it will the water thickness will increase by phi, and velocity also increases v phi. So this velocity and velocity v4 v5 will change. So this is non-uniform flow and also non-steady flow here, 4 and 5. So you can say that non-uniform flow can be further classified as gradually varying or rapidly varying. Don't worry about this. So rapidly, so in case of rapidly varying, so non-uniform flow can be rapid or gradual. So you can see here it is between 4 and 5 it is very rapid, between 2 and 3 it is gradual. So that variation, non-uniformity is slow here, whereas here it is very fast, rapid. So we can have the combination of steady and unsteady flows and uniform and non-uniform flows. So we can have steady uniform flow for section 1 and 2. In section 1 and 2 the flow is steady as well as uniform, okay, and in section 2 and 3 it is unsteady, uniform, steady, non-uniform flow. So section 2 and 3 we can have, in this section 2 and 3 it can be steady and non-uniform, or it can be uniform and unsteady. And section 4 and 5, in between sections 4 and 5 it is unsteady, non-uniform flow. So in sections 4 and 5 it is not steady because velocity is changing, v4 is not equal to v5, so it is non-steady. And also between the distance 4 and 5, so the properties are changing. So velocity is changing and the depth v4 and v5, they are changing. So it is not uniform over the length 4 and 5. So it is what is happening here is section 4 and 5 it is unsteady and non-uniform. So you can have the combinations of steady and unsteady, uniform and non-uniform. So the flow can be steady and non-uniform, the flow can be unsteady and uniform, like that. So depending on the change over the length or over the time, we can have steady and uniform flows. So remember that steady flow and unsteady flow is based on the change of properties with respect to time, and uniform and non-uniform, it is the change of properties or the change in properties of the fluid flow with respect to the length or over the length of the flow. So the distance, so it is uniform and non-uniform is with respect to dx, and steady and unsteady is with respect to dt, time. So once we are known about the steady and unsteady and uniform and non-uniform flows, we have one more kind of flows. So based on directions, so we have one-dimensional flow, two-dimensional flow and three-dimensional flow. So we have one-dimensional flow, two-dimensional flow and three-dimensional flow. So what do I mean by that? So the flow or the fluid flow is said to be one-dimensional when the properties vary only along one direction or one axis, and with respect to other two directions the properties will be constant. So that is called as one-dimensional flow. So we are talking about flow of the fluid. The fluid flow should be in one direction, and the properties of the fluid in particular direction, in one direction will change, but in other two directions it will be constant. So that flow is called as the one-dimensional flow. So here you can see the fluid properties. Okay, the fluid properties may change from here to here in particular direction, one direction, and in other two directions it is negligible or ignorable. So that kind of flow is called as one-directional flow. Similarly, if the flow of the fluid where the properties of the fluid vary along two directions, two axes, and in another direction it will be constant, that is called as two-dimensional flow. Similarly, three-dimensional flow means the fluid properties will be varying along the all the three directions of the fluid flow. It is called as three-dimensional flows. So here you can have one dimension. So it is two dimension because the properties are changing in two directions, x and y, and in other direction it is not changing, or it is not varying. The properties are not varying. And here in case of this here section view, we have x direction, y direction, z direction. So you can see the properties are changing. So for example, the flow in a pipe, so the velocity and accelerations are changing in x-axis, y-axis, and even in z-axis. So the fluid properties like velocity or acceleration, rate of flow, they vary in one direction, it is called as one-dimensional flow. If the properties vary in only in two dimensions or two directions, it's called a two-dimensional flow. If the properties of the fluid like velocity or acceleration varies, or depth of the fluid varies with respect to in all the three directions, it is called as three-dimensional flow. So in this session, so we'll stop the session now. Thank you for your hearing. So let us summarize. So in this session, we studied about fluid kinematics, and we studied about Lagrangian and Eulerian approach of understanding the flow of fluid, and we studied some properties of the fluid flow, velocity and acceleration, and we understood different types of fluid flow, steady, unsteady, and uniform and non-uniform flows, and also one directional, two-dimensional and three-dimensional flows. So that's it for this session. Thank you. In the next session we'll see some more concepts of fluid kinematics. Thank you.